Welcome to today's episode of Juicing the Numbers. I am your host, Joshua Tracy.
And I am Corwin.
And today we're going back into my exploration of Baseball Savant's website, as well as one pointless idea I had.
And I'm going to be here.
Yeah, as we usually try to be. We've done a lot of NFL stuff recently, which has been good since the season's been, over, and we haven't had too much discussion to make of it thus far. But it's nice to kind of pivot back in and out of it when we have an idea for it. But today, it's back to baseball. Back to the heartland of America.
All right, let's not get in trouble with Pat McAfee over here.
Anyway. All right, do you want to start with the big thing I had or the smaller thing I had?
How small is a small thing?
It won't take that long.
Let's start with the big thing.
All right. So I was curious about the initial idea I had was what pitch is most thrown in the zone and what pitch is most thrown out of the zone.
I'm going to guess right now that it's fastball and slider.
So I ended up not doing that.
Okay.
Because I found out it was both a difficult question to answer and ultimately a less interesting one.
Okay.
Because as I kind of started playing around with Baseball Savant and like making spreadsheets and going through things, I ended up just so curious about everything that happens in the zone versus out of the zone. And so I made a pivot table to show us everything that happens in the zone and out of the zone. So I'm going to show you what this thing said right now. And there's a lot to go through. But
should I be scared?
Yeah, pivot tables are pretty scary. So hold on as I just affix everything for you. So do you want to start in the zone or out of the zone?
In the zone.
All right. So my in the zone pivot table. So I have this broken down by pitch, and then there's underneath each pitch is a description of what that event was. And then to the right of that is the count of how often that happened. So for example, the first thing you see is change-ups. That's what CH stands for. And there were, as of Monday, July 15th, when I did this, there were 3,509 change-ups thrown in the zone. Of those 3,509, you see a whole bunch of different results here, right? The most common thing happening is a foul ball at 910. But you have, one single bunt foul tip, 101 balls, 703 called strikes, 7 foul bunts, 32 foul tips, 770 balls that were hit into play, of which 273 were hit into play with no out. 182 of which were hit into play and scored. 2 missed bunts and 528 swinging strikes. So a lot happened.
Out of
here.
3,500, there was roughly 1,231 strikes.
Yeah. Looks that way.
Yeah, not including fouled strikes.
Yeah, not including foul balls. Yeah, because we don't. I guess it'd be tough to say if that was like a foul ball with 2 strikes on or a foul ball with none. Yeah. So
that's a pretty good CSW right there. Called strikes plus whiffs. We've talked about this in a previous episode, but it's basically a nice new. That's a really good, actually, like 33% CSW rate. That's pretty good.
So I ended up just becoming absolutely fascinated by this. And if I collapse all of the windows here, just so we can see an overall picture of the initial question I had asked myself of what is the most common pitch thrown in the... And it's tough because, like, as we talked about in a previous episode, when I was looking at strikes out of the strike zone, and we ended up having a weirdly high number of called strikes out of the strike zone, which would inherently be a ball. I didn't want to do what pitch was thrown for a strike versus which pitch was thrown for a ball because that's weirdly subjective given the nature of umpiring. Luckily, Baseball Savant can break it down by where it actually landed in the MLB official strike zone. So if you look at this, the most unsurprising result possible, and I think you said it before I even opened this, what's the most commonly thrown pitch for in the zone?
Four-seam fastball.
Four-seam fastball.
By a lot.
And that's probably as a result of that most likely. I think we've talked about this. I think that's just the most commonly thrown ball in baseball by like a fuck ton.
By a lot.
So that's not a huge surprise. Second place is kind of surprising, though. It's a slider.
Yeah.
6,500. So
that's pretty wild.
16,362 four-seam fastballs thrown in the zone. 6,532 sliders in the zone. That's a fuck ton.
A 10,000 pitch difference between fastball.
Oh, so much. Yeah.
Between 1 and 2,
So much. But I think
I'd love to see a graph of this just to see how like useless this is.
Oh, well,
or like not how useless, but like the vast difference between the two.
What's really useless is whatever the fuck FO is, which I'm not even sure what that stands for.
I've been sitting here trying to figure out like what everything stands for. So like we have changeup, cutter, something that's probably a curveball.
No, this is a curveball. This is a cutter.
Fastball, cutter.
Yeah,
okay.
CU. We can go through this because one of my gripes is that most websites outside of Baseball Reference don't have like a hover over for what the abbreviations are, which makes doing this kind of shit very annoying. So if you ever see the abbreviation CH is a changeup, CU is a curveball. If anything starts with F, it derives from a fastball.
Okay.
So cutters are variations of fastball, so it goes there. FF is a four-seam fastball. We're going to skip FO for now. FS is a sinker or a two-seamer. They're the same thing. And that's why, although, despite the fact I just said that, FT is also a two-seam fastball because people do like to make the distinction, although many major leaguers
don't,
and myself believe that they are the same pitch because you hold it the same way.
Got it.
KC is a knuckle curve.
Yeah.
KN.
Knuckle.
I guess that's just a knuckle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Null means that there was no data for what this was actually going to be called, so it's probably some weird misidentified or unidentifiable pitch, or it's just too similar to one thing to the other. It's only 30 results in this, so obviously it's not a big deal, but you see it every now and then. SI is another sinker, and SL is slider.
So there's essentially 3 sinkers on here.
Yeah, I forget what the distinction was between them. I can find them with my 10 million tabs open. But
that's so ugly.
I know. A lot of it's for this. That's not what I'm looking for. A lot of this is for today's episode, but still. Fangraphs, pitch. So, yeah, what do you make of some of the less common thrown pitches here? Outside of the ones that are you can kind of just write off, like null with 30 results, knuckle with 55, and whatever the fuck FO stands for at 14. Some of the other least common thrown ones are knuckle curveballs, which I think that has to be higher for out of the zone because I'd imagine that's a ball that's often spiked in the dirt. Because I know that there are pitchers who throw it, and I know it's going to have been thrown more than 1,600 times.
I mean, if we combine all the two-seamers and sinkers together, we have, roughly over 7,000, 7,100 just about, which is a decent number. It would be higher than a slider if you want to categorize all those together. I mean, I still am just surprised that there are so many sliders in the zone. I'm assuming that's just because they hang in the zone and that's just the way it is.
A lot of pitchers will also throw their sliders in the zone and out of the zone to give you two different looks at it.
Right.
So for all of you at home, imagine you're a right-handed pitcher throwing to a right-handed hitter, okay? So if you throwing a slider that ends up out of the zone, it's going to make it like 80% of the way to the plate looking like it's in the zone, right? You can throw it middle, and what's going to happen is it's going to end up anywhere between 6 to 12 inches off the plate in the left-handed batter's box and low, because sliders not only go down but also to the side. So that's going to be one of the looks that you see probably most often,
right?
As that's a really good chase pitch. What you'll also see, though, which is, in my opinion, just one of the most fun pitches to watch, is imagine you moved that pitch in your delivery like 6 inches to the right. So now it looks like it's heading right at the batter. And instead of breaking out of the batter's box and drawing a swing, It's going to break in the zone and draw a buckle from the batter where they don't even swing because they think they're going to get hit because that's how it looks like it's coming in. So that's a little bit drastic, but that's an example of when you throw it in the zone versus out of the zone. The same thing can be applied to
Beautifully
lefties.
said.
Thank you, my friend. So FO is a pitch out.
Because that makes sense.
No longer surprised it's that fucking low. Actually, now I'm surprised there's been 14 pitch outs this season.
Yeah.
That's shocking.
Especially since
I know the Mets did one, but
especially since there's just an automatic walk. You don't have to pitch anyone out now.
Oh, okay, hold on. What do you think a pitch out is?
When the catcher literally leaves the box and they pitch him out of the box.
Okay, so the reason that you do pitch outs is you think someone's stealing.
Oh, that would make more sense. Okay, so it's the same thing, but for a different purpose.
Yeah, so back before the intentional walk, as we know it now, where you just point to first base, the catcher used to stand up and walk a comical distance away from home plate, which I always wondered how it was in the rules because the catchers have a catcher's box. Mm-hmm. You know, it's those lines right behind home plate that you're supposed to stay in as a catcher. So I never know how this became a thing in the first place. And then the pitcher would just play catch 4 times
nice
and then
soft toss.
Yeah, just
unless you're against Miguel Cabrera, where he still hits it out of the park,
or against Gary Sanchez, where he hit his first career triple,
really,
on an intentional walk.
Nice.
Yeah. So what a pitch out is where the catcher will start in his catcher's position, and then when the pitcher moves to his windup, the catcher will stand up and either walk forward or forward and to a side, catch the ball while standing, so the pitch will be delivered very high, and then throw to second. And the idea is that you think that this runner is going to steal, your pickoff isn't working, or you just don't think it's going to work. So we'll try to catch him stealing in a planned effort, and that's what a pitch out is. You don't see it much anymore, in part because analytics say that wasting the pitch and putting your pitcher in a worse count isn't good, and they'd rather have it be a strike or I guess just have it progress more naturally. Right. And you also just don't see players stealing as many bases as they used to.
Because Billy Hamilton can't get on base.
Because Billy Hamilton just cannot get on base. And for some reason, Ricky Henderson retired. No one knows why.
Let's bring him back for half a season.
Let's bring him back for a full season. Fuck that shit.
You know how Jose Canseco just always comes back to play for independent league ball
I'm amazed
teams?
He still does this, yeah.
And he sucks. He's fucking awful. But he always comes back and does it. I want to see Ricky Henderson do it and just steal 20 bags.
I would love to see that. Nothing more than to see that. Also, real quick, Fangraphs has FS and SI being the same thing. Between a sinker, SF is what the split finger is, but that doesn't appear on our list. So I'm actually kind of interested as to why Baseball Savant would have it split between being SI and FS. I don't know what the difference would be between those two things.
Yeah. It'd be one thing if it was literally the same number and they just had them doubled in categories.
Yeah. Well, actually, now I'm wondering because there's no split finger. And I'm wondering if maybe SI would be more appropriate. Or maybe FS would be a split. A fastball splitter, and then SI would be the sinker.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The numbers would line up better.
Actually, now that you point that out, the numbers would line up a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we'll call FS the split finger.
Okay. So there's only 462 quote-unquote split fingers, while there's roughly 3,000 sinkers.
Yeah, that would make a lot more sense. So this looks about... Give me some perception. So if we unlocked or opened up the knuckle curve tab here, what do you think our most common description of event is going to be? What do you think the most common result is from this pitch? Knuckle curve is a downward going pitch. Foul. I was going to say either a foul ball or ground ball.
That's what I would say.
Yeah,
too,
somewhere in there. Something because the idea is to roll over the top of it. So actually, ground ball is not going to be an option for us. The most common event is actually a called strike.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. 294.
Way to go, R.A. Dickey. Who
805. Yeah. That's surprising. The second most common one is foul, and then the third most common one is hit into play. Not hit into play, no score, or no out, I should say. So probably that's going to include a fair number. I'd say most of those, somewhere in the neighborhood of 75 of those, are probably going to be outs. So yeah, go figure. Pick another one. Pick another one of these guys.
I want to see change-ups.
Well, we start with change-ups.
Oh, we did go into depth on that. All right, let's see curveballs. I feel like that one's going to be called strikes.
This will be an interesting one because I would have given the same exact answer as knuckle curve.
Oh, right, we just did knuckle curve.
Yeah.
I'm a smart guy.
Do you want to pick another one? Do you want to see this one?
Nah, let's do it. We're already here.
All right, so then I'm gonna say called strike's probably gonna be. Yeah, it's so far and away the biggest one. Wow, that's not even fucking close. So out of the 2,946 total events that resulted from a curveball pitched in the zone, we have 1,160 of those were called strikes, and that is just so far and away the most. The second most is also foul ball, and the third most is also hit into play, with 449 of those. We have a lot more swinging strikes here. Swinging strikes ends up taking the fourth place here at 269.
I want to take a look at sliders next because I want to see if swinging strikes are going to be higher than called strikes.
All right. We have to keep in mind that slider, because there are half as many. No, actually, it's about the same. I was. Oh no, sorry. There's half as many curveballs as there are sliders. I had my numbers mixed up. Half as many curveballs as sliders. So we'll keep that in perspective as a rate. So our most common event here is still called strike. It's still 1,846 out of 6,532. Our second most, our top three are the exact same top three as it was before. It's called strike, foul, and hit into play in that order.
Top four are the same too, because then
it's
swinging
strike. Top four is swinging strikes at 848.
Huge difference between called strikes and swinging strikes.
Yeah, it's 1,000 pitches. It's more than double. So
998, sir.
You can lick my nuggets. So we had 269 out of 2,946 pitches were resulted in swinging strikes.
So 10%.
272 because there's also swinging strike blocked as being a separate event for no apparently good reason.
10%.
Yeah, 10%'s fair. Combining swinging strike and swinging strike blocked, there are 850. So
is that like 12? 15%, somewhere between there.
That sounds about right. You want to do it on your phone?
Yeah, I can do that. What was it? 848
850 divided by 6532.
13%.
So it is a little bit higher.
My math isn't awful anymore. I can estimate percentages. Yes.
Oh, you do work as a waiter.
That's true. It's like exactly what I do 24/7.
I'm wondering if there's any result in here that doesn't have those top four being the same.
Ooh. Maybe fastball?
Fastball, I imagine we're going to see a lot of called strikes. Let's see this four seam.
Yeah.
Ooh, no, you're right. Foul ball is now the king of four seamers.
Boop, 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 boop,
yeah, our top four is now foul balls, called strikes at 4,500, 500 less than foul balls, hit into play, and swinging strikes. So we've reordered, but it's still the same top four.
Huzzah.
Pitch outs have to be not this. Pitch outs have to be like all balls. 6 foul balls on pitch outs.
How the fuck do you even
3 hit into play with a score?
What the fuck?
Wow, pitch outs there's one single pitch out for a ball, which is the ideal for a pitch out. It should be a ball. And then out of 14, 3 swinging strikes. So those guys suck.
Can we find video of this?
Wow, that's astonishing.
I want to see video of all 14 pitch outs.
This is pathetic. Wow, yeah, I don't even know what to do with this. Yeah, all right.
I feel like the swinging strikes is going to be when they are very much ahead in the count and they're just swinging because it doesn't matter. Just a chance to get it on and avoid the tag.
Or they're swinging to try to foul it off so that their runner doesn't get caught.
Yeah, like everything just to avoid that guy getting tagged
okay,
out.
Then yeah. That's probably exactly a plain spoiler. I could see that.
Haha, we know baseball too.
All right.
I know percentages and something about baseball.
What do you think is going to be the biggest change when we look at this, but look at it from out of the zone pitches? Because remember, all of these pitches, all of these numbers we've been talking about thus far are only for these pitches when they've been in the strike zone.
Do you think that's why there were so few balls there? Because it's literally in the zone?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, we didn't see any walks either.
I I forgot that.
Actually, the fact that there's like 150 curveballs for balls in the zone. 101. Wow, there's a lot of. Now that you mentioned that, I forgot.
There's 600 four-seam fastballs in the zone for balls.
That's just so bad.
Oh god.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, you ready to look at this?
We may have forgotten a very important factor.
We did. We did. All right, you ready for looking at out of the zone?
There's going to be a lot more balls here, Josh.
I think we're going to see a lot of called strikes. Honestly, all right, hold on. Let me collapse all the tables real quick so that we don't have to. So we can cheat or talk about it before we look real quick. So, the ephus enters the mix, which means that there has not been a single ephus in the zone, and I wonder if we're going to get a called strike on that.
I know 3. So there's what, 3 of them? I know one of them is going to be cranky at least.
I wouldn't be surprised if all 3 were, honestly.
I feel like someone else. I feel like it was like Kershaw threw an ephus at some point this season.
Okay, so we have an ephus now. Everything else looks like it's still pretty much in line with what we saw previously. Four-seam fastballs is still by far the most. 13,000 four-seam fastballs pitched out of the zone. We now have about 5,000 changeups, 7,855 sliders. So we're seeing all the same, like, more popular pitches remaining at the top of this count list. Okay, so we started with changeup last time, so let's keep it consistent and start with changeups this time. So out of about 5,000 changeups thrown out of the zone, 4,967, we have 2,623 called balls. Which is, there's no other way of saying it, really. Yeah. They are balls. Balls. There's been 316 blocked balls, so really we're just looking at more like 2,900 balls. 154 called strikes, which should not be the case.
Shikes.
508 fouls, 8 foul bunts, 29 foul tips, 15 hit by pitches.
Didn't see those in the zone.
We did not. No, those are definitely changeups that either just didn't break or hit someone in the foot.
Missed bunt.
We have 417 balls hit into play, 116 of which resulted in no out, and 37 of which resulted in someone scoring. We have 1 missed bunt, 5 pitch outs. It's interesting that they're separating them now. 678 swinging strikes. Wow, that's a lot.
That's why we saw fucking
60 swinging strikes blocked.
The fucking pitch outs, because there were pitch outs in the zone. That's why people were swinging at him.
You know what, actually, I'm now wondering is what a pitch out in the zone looks like. Does that mean that all the catcher did was stand up?
I don't know.
Because I've seen, Posey does that. What Posey will do is when he sees someone, starting, he will leave his glove down and stand the fuck up and
just
then
so that
throw.
his legs are set and his hips are set, but he's still catching the glove.
Well, a lot of catchers don't like to do it because they want the ump to keep his view, because if the pitch is a strike, they want to get it called.
Right.
And Posey ends up still getting them called because he's Buster Posey.
Right.
But yeah, that's interesting. Now I'm kind of wondering what the
we got to dig deep here, Josh.
How in depth can we possibly go? Yeah. So now our top 4 in terms of results is balls, followed by swinging strikes, and then foul balls. So I'm wondering if that's going to maintain as we go through this.
I'm super curious about the slider. I want to see.
I am too.
What's going on there?
And I have to imagine swinging strikes is going to be a big factor for all of these, because the ideal for when you throw a ball out of the zone is to get the swinging strike.
Right.
That's the
point of throwing pitches purposely out of the zone.
Yeah. Is to get someone swinging. We'll put it that way. Whether there's weak contact off the cone of the bat or a swinging strike with no contact, the result, the ideal is to get someone moving the bat in a way that's not going to result in any actual damage.
Or to scare the living shit out of a batter like in Bull Durham.
Yes, or to just Bob Gibson them.
Yes.
Okay, let's move to four-seam fastballs before we do sliders, just to get another idea of what we're looking at here.
That's fair.
So 13,060 four-seam fastballs thrown out of the zone. Our most common result is a ball, 8,836. So again, we're falling in line.
Far and away the vast majority.
Far and away. The second most is 7,400 fewer than that at the foul ball, 1,439. Okay, that seems to make sense still.
Yeah.
After that, we had the swinging strike, 929. That's actually a lot lower than I was expecting.
Yeah, me too.
I know we're talking out of the zone pitches. I get that.
And fastballs don't show too much movement that would kind of screw a batter up.
Right, but still, to have it be less than 10% like that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really... Because I know one of the big trends nowadays is to throw higher fastballs to try to get people to swing underneath them because... No one has the swing plane anymore for like a level swing to catch the high fastball in the zone or out of the zone, so to speak. So I'm just kind of surprised it's only, I guess, 931 since we're counting the swinging strike but blocked. So that is out of 13,060, 7.13% of forcing fastballs thrown out of the zone for a swinging strike. Which is, by the way, almost as much as the called strike. Because called strike here is 4th at 812, and that seems like way too many.
Right. So it's either... So there's... Let's see. Let's add these two numbers together. So there's like 1,800 pitches that end up with either the batter sucking major dong or the umpire sucking major dong.
Pretty much, 1,743. So out of that total of 13,060, it's 13.35%. So that's like a little bit better. It's still not great. I think a lesson here is to fucking not throw forcing fastballs out of the zone, since it seems pretty easy that no one's going to do anything with it. And
ugly numbers all around.
This is a bad pitch to throw out.
This is not great.
The fact that the percentage of balls is just so high should tell you do not do this. No one's chasing at it.
I can't imagine a lot of these are on purpose though, other than it being high out of the zone.
Or like painting a corner or something like that. Yeah, unless you're like trying to like hit a spot and you miss by like an inch and you actually have a good ump.
Right.
Yeah. But
which never happens nowadays.
This is not a chase pitch for you.
No. All right, let's check out the slider.
You're really excited about the slider.
I'm so pumped.
Okay.
I just want to see something where swinging strikes is like disgustingly high.
I would expect this would be the one. So we have 7,855 total sliders.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. It's the number 2 result. Again, since we're still talking out of the zone, balls are still the highest at 4,138. So a little bit more than half. But swinging strikes coming out strong as number 2.
Yeah.
1,282 swinging strikes, and then add on the 262 below that for swinging strikes blocked, because a lot of sliders do end up in the dirt. So we're looking at 20...
15...
I keep hitting multiplied. I don't want to multiply those numbers.
1520.
1,548 total swinging strikes, and that's out of our total of 7,855 pitches. So now we're looking at almost 20%.
Which is awesome.
And that's not counting the called strikes like we did for the last one, which we can add on in a second. But if you look at just the swinging strikes out of the zone for sliders, is a full 7 percentage points higher than the swinging strikes and the mistake call strikes from forcing fastballs. This is why people love sliders nowadays.
Oh, totally.
That's huge.
Oh, it's so fucking great. Can you add together called strikes plus the swinging strikes?
Yes.
To do a quick CSW for pitches just out of the zone?
Yes. So it was 262 swinging strikes blocked plus our 1,286 swinging strikes even plus our 287 called strikes.
So for reference, while you're doing the actual percentage, having like 30% is kind of the par line, where above 30% is pretty good, below 30% is not so good. I'm hoping, I know it's not going to be 30% here, but I'm hoping it's above it.
23.4.
That doesn't sound great, but these are just pitches out of the zone.
Yeah, that's
huge.
That's absolutely
not
huge.
Not throwing a single strike in the zone, and you're still getting a 23% CSW.
Yeah, that's massive. That's absolutely massive. There have been some other high numbers here, though there's not a lot after you get out of the swinging strike territory. 622 blocked balls, so just balls in the dirt. 642 fouls, which, again, we could add theoretically we could add a certain percentage of those into the swinging strike category. They wouldn't count as a whiff, but they would count as a swung strike if they got added to the count. Balls hit into play is only 365. That's really fucking low. 365 out of our 7,855 is 4.65%. 4.65%. 4.65% of all sliders thrown out of the zone went into play. That's it. Not even went into play, no out. Not went into play and scored. Just not even went into play and like someone just hit into play.
How are there still pitchers in the MLB, excuse me, who are not trying to develop their own slider right now?
And that's why that's why like the Yankees had Aroldis Chapman learn one.
Yeah.
And that was why the Yankees had Sonny Gray try to learn one, and why he got all pissy because he couldn't throw one well.
Why do you think they signed Adam Ottavino?
Strictly for that. Yeah, straight up. Strictly for that,
he has
that singular reason.
The best slider in MLB when he's on.
Yeah, it's fucking... So, let's look at actually, now I want to compare this real quick to our slider into the zone.
Can we do a full CSW, too? I'll do that.
So, we had 65... Actually, that's really interesting. So, we only had 6,532 sliders in the zone as compared to 7,855 sliders out of the zone. That might be the only one that's higher.
Shit. Yeah.
Can we just look at that real quick? 3,500... No, changeups is also higher, actually. Actually, a lot of this breaking stuff is higher. Which I guess also makes sense. Yeah, pretty much only the fastballs are higher in the zone than they are out of the zone. Pretty much everything else is higher out of the zone, which does make sense. I suppose, since the whole point of breaking stuff is it's more erratic movement, and because the better you can throw something with movement, the more erratic it will be, or the more drastic its movement will be, the more likely it is to end up out of the zone. That would make sense that more breaking pitches are out of the zone. It's still it's still interesting to see kind of in front of you like that. So, out of the, are you adding these numbers together?
I have called strikes and swinging strikes for this. If you could go back
for
to
in the zone.
One. Yeah.
Okay, and for out of the zone.
So we have plus
262.
I think I
swinging strikes. All right, it's okay.
1286 plus 262 plus
287. Those are our strikes of various sorts out of the zone. Our strikes of various sorts for sliders in the zone.
Right.
850. Yeah.
Plus
1,846.
All right, so we have 4,531 called strikes plus swings divided by, I can't really add those numbers together. Yeah, they don't have parentheses.
Okay, I do. Well, I could actually just do it from here. So we have 6,532 sliders that were pitched in the zone, and we have 7,855 sliders pitched out of the zone for 14,387 sliders as of Monday.
That's a 31.5% swinging strike rate as league average.
Strike rate, because not swinging, because we had the called strikes.
Called strikes plus swings. So CSW.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
So 31.5% CSW at MLB average for all sliders thrown is pretty great.
MLB fucking average, man. That's just nuts. That's not even like picking Adam Ottavino or Aroldis Chapman. That's just the goddamn regular dude. You know what I mean?
Homer fucking Bailey level.
Yeah, that's just fucking nuts, man. Sliders are awesome.
I still can't believe Homer Bailey was like the first guy traded.
Second dude, Andrew Cashner was the first. Yeah,
even better.
So forgettable. You already out of the two pitchers traded, you already forgot he was first.
God. So, like, apparently he has, like, the best changeup in baseball right now.
He was, at one point, very good.
I don't remember that, but I'll take your word for it. But I don't know what's going on with the Red Sox, how that's going to work out.
I'm a little bit surprised that they moved as early as they did, since they're not guaranteed a playoff spot yet. I mean, the Rays pretty much are. Like,
well, it's not like they gave up much for him.
No, they didn't. They don't have much to give. But I'm just saying, like, it's still weird that they give up anything, because I'm not counting them out. They're obviously a very good team, and they are obviously going to make some kind of a push just based on the level of skill that their players on the roster possess.
The fact that it's the Boston Red Sox.
But yeah, it is surprising. Oh no, Andrew Cashner had one good season with San Diego. Oh, he had 2 good seasons with San Diego.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
2013, 2014.
I don't know why I thought he was good at one point.
I mean, a 3.4 in 2017 isn't awful. He is not good at striking out batters.
No,
Holy
his
shit.
career high is what, 5.1 here in Miami?
Those are walks, I think.
Oh, sorry, you're right.
7.8. No, 10.1 back in 2012. But that is the only one.
Yeah, but in 46 innings, he was
right,
basically a.
So 8. 8 is his highest strikeouts per 9.
Yeah,
that's not good.
No, it's not great.
And lately, it's been what, like? Oh, is it really 3.6?
Oh my God!
Oh dear Lord!
He has a 3.6 strikeout per 9, walk per 9, and home run per 9. They're all 3.6. That's
not ideal.
No, that's also got to be an all-time anomaly. How do you get 3.6 for all 3 of those very different stats?
The same way you hit 247 for 5 straight years.
I'm actually just kind of marveling at that's nuts that all 3 of those numbers would be the same.
His whip's exactly 2. He's averaging 14.5 hits per 9.
3 points. All right. Well, anyway, let's jump back over to what we were doing.
Oh, wait. Can you go back for a sec?
Yeah.
Because that's just in Boston so far.
Oh, that's why he has 1 game in Boston.
Yeah,
I didn't realize he had pitched in Boston yet. Oh, God, that makes so much more sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, okay. Oh, God. All right, I feel better about life now. Jesus. Oh, man.
So in 2019 as a whole, he has 6.0 strikeouts per 9, 2.8 walks per 9, 1.2 home runs per 9, and 8.3 hits per 9.
Still pretty rough.
Not great.
Still very rough, actually.
4.51. What is that?
He's letting up a homer and a fifth every game.
That's not good.
Or every 9 innings he pitches. Actually, it's funny because that's going to come up in my pitching conversation in a minute.
Oh boy,
I've got some pitching stuff in that, although not in that level. So, anything else you want to look at versus from in the zone versus out of the zone discussion here? I mean, it's tough because there's so much fucking raw data here. But
I think I'm good for this. I think I got my sliders fix in. I got my swinging strike fix in. I think I'm good to go.
Yeah, it became a kind of overwhelming because it would have been one thing if this was my original idea. It would have ended at the count. Right. It would have ended with the most commonly thrown pitch out of the zone is four-seam fastball, and the most commonly thrown pitch in the zone is four-seam fastball because there's a lot of four-seam fastballs. Mm-hmm. But I think that just the sheer volume of shit that Baseball Savant's willing to give you and that they have and that you can break down at this fucking level. I mean, we could spend the amount of time we spent just talking about sliders today on every single one of these pitches because this pretty much is going to show, in some respect, one of the main reasons why each of these pitches is thrown.
Yeah.
Because, like we said, fastballs out of the zone don't do nothing, whereas fastballs in the zone are used for very specific things, and like they have like a much higher percentage of foul balls, called strikes, which is obvious because called strikes are enormous, and well, not fucking walking, which is kind of the point of being a fastball pitcher. Is you're not going to throw walks, you're going to pump the zone full of shit, and you're either going to get strikeouts from throwing very fast or strikeouts from placing your spots well, a la Greg Maddux, and just kind of inducing weak contact to some degree from that. So it's really kind of cool. This is why I love doing baseball shit. This was not what I wanted to do when I came into this project.
But you found one fucking cool thing to do anyway.
Yeah, I found what I found was so much better. I guess it really is about the journey.
Ugh, fuck off.
Yeah, I hate myself too. Okay, so this is really like I said, this is quite small. This was just kind of an idea I had, and I didn't think it was going to be worth an entire episode. So, one of the things I'll get into this.
Okay.
One of the things I always think about is how pointless I think ERA is. Not in terms of like comparisons and understanding how good a pitcher is, because I think it is still good for that, but I think it's weird because no one throws 9 innings in one outing, and that's what ERA is predicated off of.
Right.
ERA is...
It provides a baseline.
Yeah, it's if you threw 9 innings, how many runs would you give up? So if you have a 3.5 ERA, if you were going to go out and pitch a complete game, you would let up, on average, 3.5 runs.
Right.
And that seems like a great way of doing it back when pitchers basically only threw complete games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a la Cy Young, where all of his games were complete games, pretty much. But today, I mean, no one does that. It's an event if someone throws a complete game, right. Not even like a shutout or a no-hitter. Yeah, really. If you throw 8 fucking innings, it's a big deal.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not saying that to deride anyone throwing 8 innings. It is a big deal.
Right,
but
right.
It just makes ERA feel kind of weird because I get what it means. I get that like having that 1.8 ERA as a reliever, like I think Aroldis Chapman's is, although it might have gone up after last night. Well, it's a 2.45. So like, I get that a 2.45 ERA that's a really good ERA, even though he's a reliever and they're just generally lower because they see fewer batters. That's a really good ERA. But at the same time, Aroldis Chapman's not pitching 9 innings, and so it feels kind of useless to give me a stat that's going to show me how many runs he's going to let up on average over 9 innings. You know what I mean? Because if you're going to do that, if you're going to show me how likely he is to give up runs, I think there's better ways of doing it.
Okay.
So I presented a few different ways. And again, this isn't meant to like revolutionize anything. It's kind of a discussion point. So I have stats that I pulled straight off of Baseball Reference for CC Sabathia, Aroldis Chapman, Clayton Kershaw, and Josh Hader.
Love to see Hader up there.
Yeah, 2 relievers. I figured you like Hader.
Yeah.
2 relievers and 2 starters. And I picked Sabathia very advisedly. In part, yeah, it was just easier for me to pick Yankees. I didn't want to pick 4 Yankees, so I didn't. But also because he just doesn't throw 9 innings. You will never get... If you get 6 innings out of Sabathia, like the Yankees did last night, that's a good day. You will be thankful you got 6. Because he's usually going to give you 5 from what I've seen over the past, 3 years. So it felt especially... present of an idea with him here. So I have the games that they've played, the number of games that they've played in, the number of innings they've pitched, the number of earned runs they've allowed, and their ERA. Okay, so Sabathia has pitched in 15 games. He's pitched 82 innings. He's allowed 37 earned runs. That's good for a 4.06 ERA. Those are all fine numbers. Those are all...
Nothing crazy, nothing spectacular.
Those are all 5th starting pitching numbers. Yeah, your 5th starter numbers. So, if instead of making ERA, like I said, since it's about if you went out and pitched 9 innings, what if we made it for starters about how many runs are you likely to give up in the games that you pitch, right? So, ERA, CC Sabathia has thrown 15 games and he's allowed 37 earned runs, which means that on average per game, he's allowing 2.47 earned runs.
Not bad.
That's not bad at all. Now, you might say to yourself, yeah, but he throws way fewer innings. As compared to the other starter on this list, Clayton Kershaw, he's thrown 23 fewer innings. That's noticeable. That's huge. But we also understand that CC Sabathia is only going to throw 5 innings, right? This kind of takes the innings out of the equation because you know who your pitcher is. You know what I mean? Like, that 2.47 is like, all right, that's all well and good, but that's going to be in 5 innings. Like, that's not going to be for 6 or 7.
Yeah.
7 like you would expect from maybe like a Jacob deGrom, who's way more likely to give you 7 innings than CC Sabathia is. Right? So let's just go down the line. Aroldis Chapman, 39 games, 36.2 innings, because he's a reliever. 10 earned runs, a 2.45 ERA. So in his earned runs per game, he has 0.26 earned runs per game he's pitched in.
Spectacular.
Very good.
As a closer, that's what you want.
Exactly, and that's one of the things that I think is going to change a lot, especially when we look at the next one, because this is you want to shut down games. You want to allow the fewest runs possible. He has allowed only a quarter of a run on average per game he's appeared in. It's hard to ask for much more than that. Clayton Kershaw, 16 games, 105 innings, 35 earned runs, a 3.00 ERA, good for a 2.19 earned runs per game. That's great for a starting pitcher.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who's probably going to go around, on average, 6 innings per game.
He's actually been crazy consistent this year.
Yeah, I think 6 innings per game is like the lowest he's done so far. We can just average that out real quick. He has pitched 105 innings over the course of 16 games, which is good for 6.5, 6.6.
I'm actually going to look up his baseball reference while you go into this, just to see what his.
I actually have it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we can just switch to that in a second. Go away, little guy. All right, and then Josh Hader, 33 games, 45 innings because he is a reliever, 12 earned runs, a 2.40 ERA, and his ERA per game is actually, this one is higher than Aroldis Chapman, who has a higher ERA because of his fewer innings. So Hader has allowed 0.36 earned runs per game. That caveat comes because Hader has thrown in fewer games, but he has thrown for more innings. So that will come into factor as well, the same way the idea that Sabathia is only going to throw you 5 innings, whereas Kershaw will throw you 6 or 7. Aroldis Chapman will throw you 1 inning as a reliever, whereas Hader is likely to give you
1 plus.
1 plus,
2.
yeah, 1, 2 at usually at max. I don't think I've seen him. I think he's 3 out.
Yeah, he's gone over 2 innings before this season, but it's been like once or twice.
Yeah, it's not a common occurrence for him. So, what do you think about this?
I really like it. I feel like they're. So the earned runs. Hold on. Words are escaping me, like usual. The earned runs per game, I think, works better for starters than it does relievers, which is why I am glad you have the second thing that you did just there, because I read ahead. But I do think this is. I don't think it should be replacing ERA by any means, but I definitely like that it is another thing that we could add on to use to compare these pitchers.
Yeah, none of this is ever going to replace ERA. It's too solidified of a stat, and I'm not trying to replace ERA because...
You can't.
Well, also, we know. Like, if you look at Josh Hader's 2.4 ERA, you know that's very good. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to replace ERA.
You know he's not giving up 2.4 earned runs every time he goes out there to pitch.
Like, yeah, you know he's not going to just like a fucking batting practice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
so we wouldn't, but I actually like this a lot better as well because one of my things is I want to know if someone's about to throw the ball for however many innings they're going to do it, right, starter or reliever, how likely is this person to fuck it up? How likely is this person to allow runs? Now, fucking it up comes more in terms of relievers than it does starters because your starters are going to allow runs.
Right.
You have to give them room to allow. That's why a quality start is 3 earned runs or fewer. Mm-hmm. Like, they're gonna allow runs. And your relievers will too eventually, and I get that. But, yeah.
I will say the earned runs per game is a lot more useful of a stat when you have guys like Clayton Kershaw and CC Sabathia who are very consistently putting up the same number of innings per start.
Yes.
So guys like, I don't know, I couldn't even think of one, like maybe like Yanni Chirinos or Nathan Eovaldi, who have just wildly different results as far as, going out for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 innings pitched. It's too much of a variance to really make this a very useful stat in the same way that ERA is.
Yeah, no, I agree, especially with those Tampa Bay pitchers.
Yeah,
because their usage is erratic, which kind of wonder if they like or not. Because I feel like on the one hand, as a younger person, I feel like the not knowing could be kind of fun. Mm-hmm. Getting used in all sorts of different scenarios. Kind of keep things interesting.
Really fucks with your routine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, because I know for a fact old school dudes who came up your routine is how you pitch would not like that because they came up with your routine is how you pitch. So, all right, so that's earned runs per game.
Before we move on, I did pull up Clayton Kershaw's page.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
He has not pitched less than 6 innings pitched or more than 7 innings pitched.
That is remarkable
and
consistency.
Has one with 6.1 and one with 6.2.
That is remarkable consistency.
He is an absolute machine.
Just a fucking gem.
Yeah, isn't he great?
He really is. Looks just like Greg, doesn't
he? Yeah, he does.
All right. So if we look at this, if you break this down a little bit further, though, we can look at it on an innings level. Okay? So what I did for this one is just take the number of innings that a pitcher has thrown and divide that by the number of earned runs they've allowed to get us an idea of how many innings does it take you to allow a run.
Okay.
So CC Sabathia, again, his 82 innings, which has resulted in 37 earned runs. That is good for 2.22. Aroldis Chapman, in his 36.2 innings and his 10 earned runs, is 3.62. Clayton Kershaw, 105 innings and 35 earned runs, 3.0. And Josh Hader, 45 innings and 12 earned runs, 3.75.
I really like this.
This is right. Okay. Continue.
I really like this. Especially for relievers, because it's like how many... If your reliever's only going out there for like 1-2 innings, like Hader, Chapman are, I really like, okay, we could send them out, 3-4 times. This is how many times they're going to get smacked around. And of course, it's not that simple.
Right.
But I really just like... It's just a cool stat. I don't know why I like it. I just do.
Well, this is where I end up liking it the most, because this is what's going to tell you... So for this number, the higher the better.
Yes.
For this number, the higher it is, the better it is. Because what it's saying is, it's going to take Clayton Kershaw 3 innings to allow 1 earned run.
Yes.
Okay? That's way better, especially for relievers. That's so much better. You know what I'm saying? Because, all right, even if it's not going to be a multi-inning performance, let's take that out of the equation for a second, and it's Aroldis Chapman, you know that this is basically saying, all right, it's going to take him, every third... fourth closing opportunity he gets, he's going to allow an earned run.
Right.
Thereabouts, based on the number of earned runs he's allowed and the number of innings he's thrown. And that to me is finally fucking useful.
It is.
That I'll take, because that's what I want to know. His 2.45 ERA, I know that's a very good ERA, but he's not throwing 9 innings, he's throwing 1. Mm-hmm. So how likely is he, in the 1 inning he's pitching, to let up an earned run? And the answer is once every third or fourth inning.
Right.
Or for him, since once 1 inning per appearance, once every third or fourth appearance.
Right. That's what I was trying to say, but you said so much more eloquently and using actual words.
Thank you. And so we also know, this really ties perfectly into the previous earned runs per game thing, is that CC is going to allow, it's only going to take him 2 1/4 innings to allow an earned run. So if you leave him out there for 4 innings, 5 innings, we'll say 5.
2 earned runs.
Yeah.
And that's
maybe a third.
Pretty damn good.
You'll take it.
Absolutely.
You will take it. And you'll know that every inning you leave him out there for longer. Now, this goes up exponentially because of fatigue and times through the order and all that stuff, so it's not going to be linear. It will be exponential.
Cool if it was, though.
It would be so cool, because that's just not how life works. But you know that as you leave him out for more innings, you are obviously also leaving him out there for more potential earned runs. So this enters the great debate of when do you pull pitchers, but in general, that's I don't know. I think I like this one about the most. I think you'll like the next one too.
Oh boy, what's the next one? I can't read that far.
So what I did here was that in thinking with my innings per earned run, what percentage of the games that you've thrown have you allowed an earned run? So this is not useful if you are a starting pitcher.
Yeah, because it's going to be nearly 100%.
Yeah, so for Clayton Kershaw, he's allowed an earned run in 94% of his games.
So he's had one.
Literally
one.
Literally one singular. I just have to say shutout because he didn't throw a complete game, but shutout.
One without allowing a run.
Yeah, and CC has had 2 such games, so he's at 87% of his starts have involve an earned run of some kind. So it doesn't matter the number of earned runs, just have you allowed an earned run in that appearance. So out of CC's 15 games, 13 of those games have an earned run. Out of Kershaw's 16 games, 15 of those have an earned run. So this is much more useful for relievers. So for Chapman, out of his 39 games, only 6 of them have earned runs. And for Josh Hader, out of his 33 games, 8 of them have earned runs. So that means that 15% of the games Aroldis Chapman has appeared in, he's allowed an earned run or more. And for Josh Hader, 24% of his outings have resulted in him giving up at least one earned run. Again, the number of runs he's given up don't matter. Just has he binary, yes or no.
And, I mean, you might say, like, oh, Chapman is very much ahead of him, but you also have to remember
the innings.
Yeah, he's just out there for usually twice as many innings as Chapman. That's just going to even out closer towards a starter.
This, I think, is going to be most useful if you're looking at tight games, if you're looking at like really just closing opportunities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This says what's obvious, which is Aroldis Chapman is a very good closer, but that's what you want. You want to know that, like, all right, if we bring in Aroldis Chapman now, it's a 3-2 ball game. We're squeaking by on it. It's the 9th inning. There's only a 15% chance this man's going to give up any number of earned runs. And that is a very comforting thought to a Yankees fan.
Oh, absolutely. 85% chance he closes it out perfectly and nobody scores.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, please.
Yeah, and then if you have like a 2 or a 3-run lead and you think there's only a 15% chance of him allowing any earned runs,
right.
And then if you add in like the number of times he's let up more than one, it's going to go down as it would for every single pitcher. Like that's where I start to feel like, okay, a piece of information in a baseball game that's useful to me.
Right. The more we dig into this kind of stuff, the more I realize I would be a horrible manager just because there's so much information for like managers to look at and make decisions off of. I would be paralyzed by options. Truly paralyzed. Like there's too much information.
And this is why I get a lot of guys who go with their gut.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. God. So like I said, this is not useful for stars, but what do you think about this for our relievers?
I love it. I think this shit's great. I'd love to go through and do like all the closers or, you know, all the setup guys, see like who the real dominant relievers are, just in all the different possible ways we could look at it.
Is there any method of looking at this type of pitching metric that I didn't talk about that you would have liked to see? I think I had my bases pretty well covered, so to speak, in terms of baseball conversation. But
I feel like the only thing that we didn't go over was when you give up earned runs in a game. So, like, when you're off, when you give up a run, is it one-off? Can you rebound very quickly and lock it down? Or is it a floodgates type deal where you just give up multiple runs, tons of earned runs, whatever it may be? I feel that would be pretty cool to look into.
Let me ask you this. What do you think is more useful? I just thought of this now. For a reliever. ERA or WHIP?
WHIP.
I think I'd pick WHIP as well, because that's already on an inning per inning basis.
Technically, you would think relievers are there to not allow the other team to score first, but I feel like WHIP,
especially with inherited runners,
a lot more predictive than it is than ERA.
Well, I would maybe go with ERA for clean innings, like innings you get to start, and then WHIP for inheriting runners.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be an interesting one.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you have, because
like say Aroldis Chapman has like a 1.5 WHIP, but his ERA is still 2.45 or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Like 1.5 WHIP, that's not very good. So, but he doesn't allow runners to cross the base much when he actually pitches. So he's not the guy you'd bring in on a messy inning, but let's say some weirdo who's got like a 3.5 or 4 ERA as a reliever, but like a 0.9 WHIP, he just allows home runs.
Yeah, just gives up long balls.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I would. So next week on Juicing the Numbers, we will have that.
Oh, just nothing but previews.
That's actually, I'm really intrigued by that. So get your fucking ass to work, my boy.
Yeah, which is funny because I do this at work.
Hope his boss is listening.
She's not.
We should do a live stream like what we've been talking about, but do it while you're at work so your boss can listen.
Yo, we should not at all. Thank you very much. I will refrain from doing that.
It is a Saturday night at 7:45 p.m. I'm definitely not at work right now.
I'm certainly not clocked in getting paid for this. Yeah, so let's wrap it up.
Okay.
If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at JuicingPod. If you want to hit us up via Gmail for any questions, comments, or ideas, you can do so at juicingthenumbers@gmail.com. And if you want to check out the show notes for this episode and all previous episodes, you can do so at juicingthenumbers.wixsite.com/website. And until Monday, y'all have a good one.
Have fun at work, Josh.